The positive actions combined with positive thinking results in success. Good evening, one and all. Let me take you all through the listings of what to expect in today's session. It is the second session for this evening of the mega career guidance event Avenir 2022 #Discover You, hosted by Indian School Bausha under the aegis of Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Oman. The welcome address will be followed by a brief introduction and a video on our eminent speaker. Then, we shall invite the esteemed speaker for his presentation. After the presentation, we shall request our guest speaker to answer a few questions raised by the attendees in the question and answer segment. The continuing session will be taken up by the university spokesperson. The detailing of the courses will be made available and the process of admission will be put forth. We shall conclude this session with a vote of thanks. Today is the opportunity to build the tomorrow you want.
Good evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Avenir 2022 #Discover You, a global career guidance program launched by Indian School Bausha under the aegis of Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Oman. On behalf of Indian School Bausha, I, Supriya of Class 9,
and I, Richa of Class 9,
take the proud privilege of expressing our profound gratitude to His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq Al Said for the altruistic and noble benevolence showered on the Indian diaspora in the Sultanate of Oman. May the Almighty shower His choicest blessings on His Majesty, and may this nation experience peace and everlasting prosperity.
we are happy to welcome all the students, parents, and teachers for being a part of Avenir 2022 #Discover You. Thank you, one and all, for your presence here this evening. It is with sheer joy and great pride that I take the task of introducing our speaker today, Mr. Mukund Manohar. Mr. Mukund Manohar is the manager and head of internal audit professional practices at the Office of Internal Audit and Investigations at UNICEF, United Nations Children's Fund, based in the UN headquarters in New York. He is an alumni of Indian School Muscat and was previously the president of the Indian School Muscat Alumni, where he championed alumni efforts in providing scholarships to students from low-income families. Mr. Mukund has over 15 years of global audit and governance experience, having worked at a global asset management firm in Baltimore, MD, a media conglomerate serving the MENA region in Dubai, UAE, and more recently for Oman Investment Authority. In his roles, he has performed audits across the globe for both government and private entities. He is currently pursuing his doctorate in business administration from the International University of Monaco. We would like to request the audience to kindly post your queries in the chat box. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please join me and listen to our speaker, Mr. Mukund Manohar, on his topic, Careers in Audit and Risk. The platform is all yours, sir.
Good morning, and thank you for the wonderful introduction. It is a pleasure to be talking to the students of Indian schools in Oman. And for myself being a former student, it gives me immense pleasure and satisfaction to be involved in this major event hosted by Indian School Bausha. The topic I want to talk to all the students about is careers in audit and risk. So what is an audit? An audit, basically, the word derives from the Latin word audire, which means to hear. And an audit is basically the examination of financial report by an organization as presented in the annual report by someone who is independent of the organization. And the purpose of the audit is to form a view on whether the information presented in the financial report reflects the financial position of the organization. The next thing is, what is risk? Risk implies future uncertainty about deviation from expected earnings or expected outcome. In simple words, risk is a possibility of something bad happening. And why is risk important? Risk assessment is a key function, a key requirement of the audit process. So now, who is an auditor? Uh, Auditor is someone who's a professional who inspects accounting records and other financial documents to make sure they're accurate. A major part of an auditor's duties is to make sure the organization's finances are compliant with government and industry regulations. They're often called upon to meet with managers or executives to report on ways the organization could operate more effectively and efficiently to increase profits and reduce expenses. So, in final words, auditors are key players in making sure businesses are run lawfully and responsibly. So now I want to talk to you a little bit more on the different kinds of auditor. So it's important to highlight some of the types of auditors that exist within the professional world today. So three kinds are internal auditors, external auditors, and government auditors. So what is an internal auditor? Internal auditors actually hired by companies, and they evaluate financial and operational activities, including corporate governance. Internal auditors report their findings to senior management and the board of directors of an organization. So in other words, they're actually employees of the organization in which they're auditing. External auditors. These are audit professionals who provide an objective financial opinion about an organization's financial statements. And this opinion states whether these statements represent the organization's financial position fairly and accurately. These auditors actually work for independent audit firms. I'm sure all of you must have heard of Deloitte, KPMG, Pricewaterhouse. These are external independent audit firms, and these auditors come from one of several hundred external firms in the globe. The third kind are the government auditors, people who worked for the government. So they ensure that these government agencies, organizations, and all the individuals in the government who execute their duties are doing it as per government regulations. So these are the three major kinds of auditors. There are other auditors too, but these are the ones which are more popular, and they have the ones which are providing the best assurance in an organization. There's something else which I haven't covered, which is something which has been more prevalent in the last 10 to 15 years, is someone called an information technology auditor. I did talk about financial statement assessment. Information technology auditors, they examine whether the information technology infrastructure within the organization is safe. Are the information systems safeguarding the assets? Do they maintain data integrity? And also, are these information systems operating effectively to achieve the organization's goals and objectives? So these information technology auditors can be actually within the organization, like internal, or also external from external audit firm. So now that we have talked about the kinds of auditors, let us look at how a basic audit process is conducted. So the first thing the organization does is prepare the financial report of the organization. The company prepares it using their finance department, the CFO is involved, and they prepare these documents based on the legal and financial reporting requirements. Once this document is completed, the auditors then gain an understanding of the organization's activities. So they do this by examining the organization, looking at the various activities in the organization, looking at the economic and industry issues that might affect the business during the period. So once this understanding of the organization is completed, then what the auditors do is they identify and assess any risks that could have a significant impact on the financial position or the performance of the organization. Remember, I talked about what risk is, the possibility of something bad that could happen. This is exactly what an auditor does. They look at the risks, what all could go wrong, and if it goes wrong, what would be the impact to the organization. They also look at what measures in order to prevent this risk, what they call it internal controls. So what measures has an organization put in place so that when these risks happen, they have measures in place to mitigate these risks. So once an auditor understands the risks and understands the mitigation procedures in place, then they consider what the management has done that to ensure that the financial statements are accurate, and and auditors also look at the evidence which goes along with the financial statements and examine it and analyze it. After this process has been completed, what the auditors do is they make a judgment whether the financial report taken as a whole, is it true, is it fair of the financial results, and does it represent the organization, does it represent the cash balance of the organization, is it in compliance with all the global reporting standards, the financial reporting standards, and any government laws. And also there are specific acts based on the company in which the organization is registered. They look at all the laws and ensure compliance with those laws, including the local tax laws of the country. Once this process has been completed, the final output is an audit report. So the auditors then prepare this audit report and they give their opinion. What do they feel about the organization? What are the outcomes of the audit? And they also give an opinion as to is this financial statement fair and represents a true impression of the organization to the public, to the shareholders, or to the members of the organization. So the next thing I want to talk about is, now that we have talked about how the audit is done, I want to talk about, as an auditor, if you're looking at it as a career as an auditor, what do you typically do? What do you specifically do? So what auditors do is they discuss the scope of the audit with the organization. What will the audit cover? What are we looking at? What are the areas that we're going to be testing? They discuss this typically with the directors of the organization. There's management, you're talking about the CEO, the CFO, and they talk about what the scope of the audit is. And they would also request that to understand better to understand the organization better, the management may also request additional procedures they would request the auditors to perform. One of the key things as an auditor we have to always remember is that they maintain an independence from the management, so that the tests and judgments they make are very objective. The auditors also determine the type and the extent of the procedures they will perform based on the risks. Remember, I talked about the risk assessment they do. Based on the risks they have identified, they will determine the extent of the procedures they will perform. So what will these procedures be? The first thing is ask a lot of questions. Auditors ask questions, either formal written questions, informal discussions with people, and these questions will not only be put to the senior management, but to a range of individuals across the organization. This is the first thing as an auditor, always ask questions. The next thing is they examine the financial and accounting records. They look at the financial statements, they look at the cash flow statement, balance sheet, income statement, detailed trial balances, detailed journal entries. They will also look at fixed asset records. They look at your fixed asset register. They look at depreciation. So all the things I'm sure a lot of our students in 11th and 12th have studied in their accounting and business studies courses. This is exactly what an auditor does. They go through all these records of an organization. Then what the auditor does is the auditor makes a judgment on the significant estimate and assumption. So management has, for example, depreciated an asset at so much percent. The auditor will determine if this assumption is correct, if the management has made the right assumption in deciding the depreciation rate, in deciding different ratios of the organizations, etc. This is what an auditor decides. This is the judgment which an auditor makes. And then he proceeds further after ensuring that the judgment the management made is accurate. A lot of times, an auditor has to obtain written confirmation. They will talk to the organization's banks. They will talk to the different lenders of the organization to ensure that the amounts what the company is stating in their financial statements and books is accurate. These numbers are valid and there is a basis for these numbers. So the auditor will talk to the various banks, they talk to the government agencies, figure out to confirm that these numbers and these values are actually accurate. Once this is done, the auditor also looks at the internal controls. Remember, I talked about how an organization has various risks, and to mitigate these risks, the organization sets up something called internal controls, which are processes or procedures in place to mitigate these controls. So what the auditor will do is review these controls, ensure these controls are working fine, and they will maybe look at the work done by the company to ensure that these controls are effective and working efficiently. There's also a time when auditor will follow different members of the management team of the staff of the organization. They want to see how a process is done. They want to examine how a manufacturing team does different steps in a manufacturing process. They want to examine how different financial staff perform different financial steps in their organization. So a lot of times auditor will follow you, will sit with you and watch how you're performing various activities in the organization. Okay, so now that we have talked about what an auditor does and what an audit is, this is something which is going to be of interest to a lot of you, because if you're considering a career in audit, these are some of the skills which makes a successful auditor. So the first thing is attention to detail. This is very important. Something, if you're a person who enjoys looking into detail, this is the right field for you. A strong aptitude in maths, which is something, if you enjoy numbers, if you enjoy calculations, if you enjoy just in general maths as a subject, this is a very good skill to have as an auditor. Problem solving skills is very key. Auditor figures out solutions to issues. Auditors looks at how a organization has gone through a process and how they are finding solutions for it. And his job as an auditor is to ensure that these solutions are the best. So excellent problem solving skills is very, very important as an auditor. The next thing is a keen interest in the financial system. If you're a person who enjoys reading about financial news on the internet, understanding why companies have purchased other companies, mergers, acquisitions, IPOs in the market, these are something which you have interest in understanding how a company makes its profit, how a company operates in the environment. This is a very good skill to have. The interest, the knowledge about these things will help you be successful as an auditor. Uh, Deadlines. Obviously, financial statements have deadlines. They have to be submitted to the stock market, to the different government agencies within a certain time limit. So you have strict deadlines and you have to be able to work with these deadlines, sometimes under pressure. So if you're someone who likes a lot of work and can execute it very effectively and quickly, this is a field for you. Uh, Audit is also very interesting because it can be an individual activity as well as a team activity. Sometimes you will do an audit along with the members of a team. Sometimes you will look at it individually on your own. So having the personality to switch between the two, being someone who can do on your own or also be part of a team, is very, very important in being a successful auditor. IT skills. This is something which has been, like I mentioned, the last 10, 15 years. IT controls, IT systems in accounting, especially in financial statements, is a key factor. So having good IT skills, understanding how various accounting systems happen, how different members of the organization communicate with these accounting systems and financial systems is very important. Because as you know, no one enters journal entry and financial statements manually. It's all done through an accounting system of the organization. So to understand the system limitations, and the different functions of the system is very important as an auditor. Last, but one of the most important things as an auditor is excellent interpersonal and communication skills. Being able to communicate with various levels of management, talk to someone who's a CEO, and also an entry-level accountant. Being able to communicate with people and building a relationship with them is very important as an auditor. And also, as an auditor, you'll be asked to present, talk to management on the outcomes of the audit, explain to them what you have found and what you think is the best way forward. So having good presentation skills, being able to communicate to management is a very, very important part of an auditor. And the last but not the least, writing skills. End of the day, all the good work you do goes in a report. So this report should be able to communicate to management, to the shareholders, that this is the work we have done and this is the outcomes of our work. The communication of this work is very, very important in an auditor. So like I mentioned, if auditing is something you're interested in a career, And if you already possess a lot of these skills, this is something you should really consider and look into it on the long term. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is, educational qualifications. So to become an auditor, I'm sure my next speaker is going to talk to a lot more about the various educational opportunities available. I just want to give a brief that in order to become an auditor, one of the entry-level auditors typically require a business degree, a bachelor business degree, typically bachelor's in accounting, a finance, a BCom, a BBA, or even a degree in information systems today. If you're interested in pursuing a long-term career as an IT information systems auditor, a degree in information systems would be very useful. In order for you to grow within the organization into a much more senior level, senior positions, it's good to have an MBA or a master's. And this is something which you can also attain during working as an auditor. You don't have to do it right away. You get a few years of experience and then do an MBA or MS, either part-time or full-time, and take a break. This is something required for you to grow within the department and function. Apart from a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, something is very important for an auditor is the different certifications required. I have just listed a very few certifications required. These are major ones, but there are a lot more certifications for different areas in the audit function, depending on your interest. One of the most important ones we have all been aware of is the Chartered Accountant of India, the CA, which is it's a degree which can help you in any area of finance, accounting, audit, or risk. This is a very, very valued degree around the globe. The next thing is a CPA. CPA is offered in many countries like the US, UK, Canada, Australia, and a few other countries. This is especially if you're looking to work in these countries, a CPA would be a lot more useful for you to get instead of a CA from India, depending on which part of the world you see yourself in. The third option is the ACCA, which is from the UK, which also a lot of us are well aware of. It's well valued, especially in the region in the Middle East. It's very valued. It has, I think, I'm not sure, I think it has about 14 papers. It's a very valued degree. People respect the ACCA around the globe. Internal auditing, if you're looking to be specifically an internal auditor, there is a certification called Certified Internal Auditor, which is very useful. It's a 4-part exam. You need to complete a bachelor's degree to take it. And this is a very interesting degree to have because it not only talks about financial records, but also talks about examining non-financial areas of the organization. And the last thing is specific if you're interested in becoming an information systems auditor in IT. The CISA, this Certified Information Systems Auditor, is a very good certificate to have, especially if you're looking for a career in information systems auditing. Okay, so this is something I wanted to talk specifically because, yes, you can have various skill sets, you can have various interests, but an auditor possesses very, very unique qualities, which is something you have to embody to be successful in this role. And one of the first things is ethics. So auditors should possess a very strong ethical framework, and they have to report on any issue they come across, irrespective of who the person or the company is. So there's a lot of opportunities for an auditors to be tempted to do something to hide certain things, but an auditor should be above all that. You should be a personality where you should be very fair and report on whatever you come across and be very true to your role. The second thing is professionalism. This is a very important trait for auditors to have because you deal with different types of people, some who may be very difficult to handle too. So being professional is very important. And also when you look at a company's functions, a company's internal controls, professional skepticism is also very important. So auditors need to understand how, for example, perpetrators of fraud will beat the company's controls. So auditors need to think outside the box and design and implement a system that can protect the organization. Communication skills, I've already mentioned it before. It's very important. You have to build a rapport with employees, with managers, with directors, with external parties. So being able to be articulate and request issues, request findings, request documents is very important, both verbally and in writing. The last thing is interpersonal skills. Once again, I mentioned it, but strong interpersonal skills are very important. You request a variety of documents and building the relationship with people. Some people will give it to you, some people won't give it to you. How do you convince them? How do you get that information from them is very important. And you should be able to also work with difficult people who refuse to give you information. You should be able to convince them, play a good role where you explain your requirement, why you're looking for it. And the objective and the professionalism will all tie into this interpersonal skill requirement. Okay, so let's say you want to pursue a career in auditing and you want to become successful. How do you become successful as an auditor? The first thing is gain experience. So one of the better ways to gain experience is to work for one of the big four accounting firms. I'm sure all of you have heard of these names: Ernst & Young, Deloitte, Pricewaterhouse, and KPMG, or also work in a large organization with a well managed internal or external audit function. So it's very important to take advantage of any opportunity to gain this real world experience. And you can, when you join these firms, you'll join as the entry level auditor or the junior auditor. And the first years of your career is very crucial because you will be working with multiple clients and you will gain all the experience and essential skills which prepares you for a much bigger phase of your career as you grow in the audit function. So like I said, working for a big organization, working for a big accounting firm, this can even be as an internship during your bachelor program or when you're studying for the chartered accountancy. So working for a big four or large organization is very important. Second thing is certification. Certification will accelerate your path to the top of the organization. So usually what happens within about 5 years of experience, an auditor moves into the next level of the organization. So if you want to grow with an organization, you want to grow to a senior auditor, you want to become a director, a manager, audit partner eventually, certification is very important and it'll help you accelerate your career faster than those who do not have a certification. And in the end of the day, to be a leader, to be an audit partner, to be a managing director, you need a certification in the audit profession. Staying current, you have to know what's happening in the market. Read the paper, read the Financial Times, read the Wall Street Journal, read Economic Times, read business journals. It's very important to be updated with the market, know what's going on around the world. You don't have to have an in-depth knowledge, but just have an understanding in different industries. Your knowledge and skills by keeping up to date will help you be very successful as an auditor. And be a team player. Like I mentioned, scope of audits can be fairly large. A lot of times you will go on a team of 5 and 10 auditors. And it's very good to work with different people, learn from others, and then work together to come to a final solution. You should always know how to work in a team very well, and also how to learn from others and also share knowledge with others is very important to be successful as an auditor. So as I spoke today, I just wanted to just kind of highlight the key takeaways, what we discussed so far. So the first thing is an auditor reviews the financial statements to ensure the companies comply with all these regulations. The next thing is you need a degree in finance, accounting, economics, or even information systems. And you require a specialty certification to be successful and to grow as an auditor. The third thing is auditors are team players and they require several characteristics, including professionalism and communication skill. These are key important skills to have as an auditor. Auditors are typically 3 types: internal, external, and government, and also IT auditors, who I mentioned earlier. And also I want to mention that the duties of an auditor include reviewing, analyzing, evaluating financial statements, products, systems, and organizations. So my final words: auditing is a growing field, thanks to various government regulations, which are being updated very often. Auditing offers a variety of job responsibilities. If you enjoy working with company management, talking to CEOs, CFOs, enjoying reviewing business and financial processes, consider an in-demand career as an auditor. Auditors are in high demand around the globe. As companies in other countries go global, these companies will need for auditors to handle financial records to ensure accuracy. As companies even grow, they need auditors to make sure that their books are within the law. In a career of auditing, there are so many opportunities for advancement and growth. If you begin your career as an entry level auditor, you advance to a senior auditor, a manager, and eventually an audit partner or a director. In internal audit, an auditor could advance into management position outside the audit function. People also move from smaller firms to larger firms and larger firms to smaller firms, and they get much more responsibilities. But the reality is this auditors, they help promote transparent financial reporting, which is an important element in our highly integrated and global economy and helps our global economic system functioning. It's a very purpose driven mission, and you can take pride in being an auditor. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And I'll move to the next phase of any questions anyone has. Thank you.
That was an extraordinary and inspiring session by you, sir. Your creative and fun-filled session enlightened us and kept each one of us engaged. Now, we would like to request our speaker, Mr. Mukund Manohar, to kindly answer a few queries put forth by the audience. May I now invite the moderator of the session, Mr. Saiju, sir, to pose some questions from the audience to you. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, sir. Sir, it was a wonderful session indeed. The session was informative, educative, and engaging. Sir, we have received a lot of queries in our chat box, in the different social media platforms. People were watching it, and we have received a lot of questions. And sir, we have actually shortlisted the questions, and we can ask them one by one. So first of all, you spoke about the different certifications in the realm of auditing, like ACCA, CA, CPA, and all. Sir, actually, we have heard of cost accountants also. What exactly is the difference between this chartered accountant or ACCA with this cost accountants?
So in simple terms, a CA is typically a financial accountant who looks at financial statements, balance sheet, income statement, etc. A cost accountant actually is more involved in figuring out the cost of an organization, figuring out the cost of different processes, especially in a manufacturing company, to figure out what the cost of the product or the service the company offers. So cost accountant is actually very key in figuring out if a company wants to sell a product for 10 rupees or 10 reals, it should know what the cost is. Fixed costs, non-fixed costs, variable costs. There are various costs involved which go into figuring out the cost of a product or service. So a cost accountant's job is very important into figuring out these costs, working with these costs, especially in a changing world where prices increase every day. A cost accountant focuses primarily on the cost of a goods or service. So they help the company figure out what's the optimal price to sell it at. If you sell it at this price, what will be the profit for the organization? That is the main role of a cost accountant compared to a financial accountant like a CA.
Okay, sir. Now moving on to the next question. So you told that it is very important to gain some experience from the four big accounting firms like this PricewaterhouseCoopers or KPMG like that. Sir, why is it so important to gain them experience from those companies alone? What makes it so special?
So obviously these four are the leaders in the accounting space, but not only four, there are actually a lot more accounting firms. These four are the ones which are more popular. The advantage of these kind of companies is these companies work with clients across multiple industries. They will work with manufacturing companies, oil and gas companies, services companies, different kind of organizations with different experiences. So when you work in these companies, you work with a multitude of different industries, and also you get to learn a lot about every industry. Unlike when you work for an organization, you only will be interested in their product or service. But when you work for an external firm like a Big Four or any large accounting firm, you deal with a multitude of clients with various backgrounds, and that will make your whole knowledge wholesome. That way, in the long term, you can move to any industry you want because you would have gained experience across all industries.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And sir, you discussed about the key skills required for becoming an auditor. And sir, if there is someone who aspires to be like an auditor or wants to like continue his studies or become an auditor in his future, then at that time, how he or she can actually plan his studies for becoming an auditor?
So, yeah, so like I mentioned, I think starting point is a bachelor's degree in any field, any business field is enough. Finance, accounting, and even information systems. And a lot of times you have IT professionals wanting to come into IT auditing also. So once you have completed a bachelor's degree, the trick is to either get into one of the big firms as an internship, as an articleship, and start working your way up, or pursue one of the certifications which I mentioned. There are other certifications too, but these are the more popular ones globally. So if you become an Indian CA, you can actually get into a variety of different accounting, finance roles, including auditing. And like I said, ACCA, the CPA, or the certified internal auditor or the information systems auditor. So pursuing one of these certifications and a bachelor's degree will kickstart your career. And then obviously, as you grow, you can get a master's degree and further progress your career.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your insightful answers. We are so sure that those who were actually watching this program, they must have got a clear idea about how this auditing career would be. Okay. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Over to the MCs.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for all your support and guidance given to the large audience by attending to their concerns so patiently during the course of the discussion.
Avenir is a global career guidance event to empower students and assist them in identifying their ideal future career path. It was conceptualized by the Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Sultanate of Oman. The first Avenir was organized at Indian School Al Mabala in the year 2018. In 2019, Indian School El Seeb conducted the program. Indian School Muscat conducted the first virtual Avenir in the year 2020. Avenir 2021 was conducted virtually by Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir. In 2022, the flagship school in Oman. Indian School Bosher is all set to fly the flag higher by conducting Avenir 2022 in hybrid mode. Our impeccable planning, devoted team, unmatched resources guarantee a memorable event. The 5-day event will be held from Thursday, October 13, 2022 to Tuesday, October 18, 2022. Prominent achievers, educators, and industry experts will address the audience. Universities and educational institutes from different corners of the globe will present themselves to the audience of Avenir 2022. The event is open to all educational boards, including CBSE, ICSE, IGCSE, and IB. It will provide comprehensive career guidance to students to pursue their passions at national and international universities. Avenir 2022 guarantees a wealth of information and awareness on 21st century courses, scholarships, internships, and career placements. This event will assist students in discovering their ideal future career path. Let us gather together for this 5 days of excitement, effulgence, enlightenment, exploration, and exaltation. Let's join Avenir 2022 to discover you.
It is time for us to move on to the second part of the session, the time to meet the university spokesperson, Director Mr. Ashok Rajaram from the Grey Matters University with the topic Professional Finance Courses after 12th grade for Commerce Stream Students. Let us now watch a short profile of the university through a video.
At Grey Matter Academics, we offer various finance professional courses and through various integrated programs where we have a 5-year and 3-year program, besides offering certain optional professional examinations from various institutes such as CAA, CPA and CSA.
We have always stuck to a principle that the student to the tutor ratio should be in the range of 1:50.
Since GMA is highly selective with their entry of students, the batch size is also very limited, and this ensures personal care and attention provided to each student.
Grey Matters Academy is one of the academies in Chennai where they take care of every student. There is an individual attention is paid for the student as well as for the entire curricular activity which is being done here. They are taking the responsibility of the students.
The very tagline says every student matters to the academy and every moment in GMA really counts for the student.
Over to you, sir.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank Indian School Bowser for inviting us and giving us a great platform for sharing our knowledge more to the commerce stream students. And we are thankful to the board of the school and the management and the Avenir committee or all the organizers for giving us this wonderful platform, Avenir 2022 Discover You, which is the most appropriate tagline for the school, and primarily considering the audience who would be around 11th and 12th grade, who are in a critical juncture of their life to take an appropriate decision to build themselves and establish in the future. So a big thank you to the Indian School Bowser and all the organizing committee. With that, I would want to move on to the topic for the day, that the various information that I would want to share primarily to the commerce stream students on various career opportunities. That is something that they can consider at this point of time. I must thank Mr. Mukund, who is the previous speaker, that he had taken quite a bit of a load of me. He had shared a very in-depth insights and provided an insights into a very specific dimension of one of the finance stream courses taken at a very depth and level where students would have gained a thorough visibility into particularly on the auditing field and what are the various requirements and skills. That's something that they can look at it. What I'll be sharing is something more to the courses that the finance students, commerce stream students can consider, must consider at this point of time before they make a final decision. So that's how the session is going to be. I would be probably covering it up in two major sections. One is about sharing our knowledge in terms of what are the various options that the finance commerce students at this point of time can look into. And the second part is more of what we do, Grey Matter Academics, as an institution, and what we have to offer it to the students who are interested to pursue certain specific courses that we'll be discussing in a while from now. But before that, I would want to also set the context is the list that I'm going to share are not the exhaustive list. There are many more courses that are available, but what I'm going to share is some of the most popular and most recognized in the global arena, and also more so from the Indian from the specific to the Indian country situation as well, actually. So hence I would expect all the participants of today's meeting to take a note of it, that these are some of the important courses that you must look into or have it in your mind before you consider any other courses or before you take any decision. So that's the enabling part that we would want to bring it up. So with this note, I just would want to move on to share some of the content that I wanted to speak for the day. I'll just share my screen. Okay, I hope everyone is able to see my screen and I'm audible as well. As I said, these are information that we would want to pass it on to the students who are aspiring to become a finance professional. I just want to share with you some of the parameters and assumptions that we have considered here. So you have already taken a very, very vital decision on your 10th grade of wanting to pick up a commerce stream. So that was the first major decision that you have done. And having taken that first step forward, and now you are in a even more a critical point of time to decide on, okay, what next? And this is going to determine your career, not only from an academics perspective, but also from your work career perspective as well, where you're going to live for next 30 to 40 years of time frame. And I'm sure all these aspirations may get answered based on the finance professional course that you would be choosing on. Also, I'm just looking at at par with other professional courses outside the commerce stream. So there are two major non-commerce streams that generally students are looking up to. Is one is the engineering side, and the other one is the medicine. So both these courses, if you look at it, it has a duration of 4 to 5 years time frame across the globe. So that is the first assumption that I want every commerce student must consider, that you should give yourself a time for you to become a professionally qualified person in any finance related professional course that you must take. So you shouldn't be hurrying up things by just doing a mere graduation and settling down for a bachelor degree. I'm not saying that you should not do, you must do a graduation, but today you are at a situation, I can proudly say that the commerce students have got the highest number of options today to pursue in their academics as ever before. Okay, so you are at a time frame where you have the maximum of opportunities to pursue. So you must make the best use of the environment that is made available to you, for which you need to be completely aware of what are all the top most things that you need to be considering, which you shouldn't be ignoring, where you should not regret at later point of time, oh, I wasn't aware, or I should have done this. All those questions at least should get addressed today, so that you are fully informed or well aware of certain major and important professional courses that can transform you and can change your life as well. So I've picked up such courses which are more in terms of popularity and more in terms of recognition and more in terms of giving you that kind of a hierarchical position that you can attain if you're pursuing a career, and gives you a pride as well to become a member of such premier institute as well. So I've taken up such kind of courses, and also consider 4 to 5 years of time frame for completing such courses. So so these are the broad two parameters that we have looked into, and I'm not going to list down all those graduation, the bachelor's degree that are in existence. So you have plenty, and all I'm going to talk about is what beyond that bachelor's degree, or what should be done along with the bachelor's degree. So I would recommend that everyone must parallelly or simultaneously do any of this bachelor's degree, but along the side you have a wonderful opportunity to begin your professional career academic path as well. So you must not miss such opportunity and get into such opportunity at the earliest time frame, which is your 12th grade. So I'm going to talk about such professional courses where you can enroll yourself and begin your steps forward in pursuing such courses along the side of any graduation that you may wish to pursue it along. So the first most course that I would be saying, it is more from Indian institutes. These are 3 premier courses that are offered in India by the Indian institutes. The first one is the Indian Chartered Accountancy, which is offered by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and CMA is the Cost and Management Accounting, which is from the Institute of Cost and Management Accounting of India. ACS is actually the company secretary provided by offered by the Institute of Company Secretaries India. All these 3 institutes are under the direct control of Parliament. It's all enacted by the Act of Parliament and are under the direct supervision and monitoring of Ministry of Corporate and Affairs. So that itself is a premium that not any other institute or universities do enjoy. So there are no other private organizations that would offer you such certification. So it's just monopoly, and it's the only institute that offers such courses. So now we are going to talk about each of these courses, and as you may probably already aware that these three premier certifications, are specializing in a very, very different aspects. They are not similar in terms of specialization, so each one focuses on multiple things. I'm not going to spend more time on what each specializes on, but I'm going to tell what is required to become each of these member. So let me take chartered accountancy, which is the probably the most popular degree, I would say, not only in India and across globe. And it gives you that amount of confidence for a student who completes chartered accountancy can go anywhere across the globe and take up any other finance professional course certification at one shot. That is the level of confidence and knowledge someone would be able to acquire because of the intense training and the in-depth knowledge that the course that offers. Okay, and similarly, cost and management. So chartered accountancy broadly focuses on four things, which is obviously the accounting part, and the second one is on the auditing, and the third one is the taxation part, and fourth one is the law that governs a particular country. So these are the four broad areas that the course looks into. Later on, after you complete such certifications, you are allowed to choose any one or any one or more than one as your career or as your specialization, and you can build your life based on that. And CMA obviously very, very specialized courses on costing, and also more on the management accounting side, which is more required, the internal aspect of any organization, which they can look into, which is one of the very critical function in any of the companies where any costing is involved. Of course, ACS is more about the various statutes that governs and corporate in India, and more so that it specializes on the Companies Act, where how a corporate should function, from the governance perspective and also from the expectation of the government. So these three are very, very, I would say, critical role or a function in any organization. And all these roles are something that, someone can pursue it as an independent person, where, independent professional firm where you can kind of offer your opinion on certifying all these corporates financial statements, or wherever, whatever other compliance and requirements, you can do it as an individual professional as well, actually. So you have plenty of opportunity, countries like India, where you can kind of establish yourself. It's a land of opportunities, and it's going to grow from now. So these are some of these courses which has a premium attached to it. And now I'm going to give a very brief about the structure in which these courses are those courses are organized. Okay, so more or less all these three courses have a very similar kind of a structure. So it has a 3 level. One is the foundation level, and next one is the intermediate level, and then there is an internship that is required for the students to undergo a hands-on practical experience with the certified professional who is already a practicing member. And post which you might end up having to complete something called final. So the total number of papers that you would be clearing, in the entire process is 20 papers right after 12th. So your eligibility is after the 12th grade. You can enroll for such courses, and you can start your professional path and journey. And then you complete, these 20 papers. Then you are a certified member of, any of these institute, as appropriate, like whatever institution, whatever certification that you wanted to pursue. And you can definitely choose your career from there on. The time duration, as I said in the beginning itself, it would take about 4.5 years for someone to get actually and professionally certified for these courses. So with that kind of an introduction for these premier institute and Indian courses, I would want to move on and pick up other popular courses across the globe. Now these 2 courses that I've listed down here, ACCA and CIMA, are again 2 distinct courses offered from the United Kingdom. But these 2 courses again are globally recognized. It's recognized in 170 plus countries. So you can imagine the amount of recognition that a professional would get somebody when they get qualified. ACCA is actually the Association of Certified Chartered Accountants, And it's a membership that you would get after having completed 13 papers. Okay, and again, eligibility for this is, you can do it after your 12th grade, and you'll have to complete this 13 paper. There are again 3 kind of levels, I would say. There is a knowledge level, skill level, and a professional level. The knowledge level has 3 papers, skill level has about 6 papers, and professional level has got 4 papers. So once you complete these 13 papers, then you are a certified chartered accountant from ACCA. And then if you wanted to practice as a member, then you might have to complete a minimum requirement of practical work experience of 3 years, so that you are allowed or given a license to practice as a member as well. And SEMA, on the contrary, that it is Chartered Institute of Management Accounting, which again focuses more on strategic business aspects and the management skills of the student. And this also is something that people can look at it after the 12th grade. And this also has 13 papers, but across 4 levels. It has certificate level, operational level, management level, and strategic level. It has 4, 3, 3, and 3 papers that someone would be expected to do. And it broadly covers more of business accounting, management accounting, and advanced management accounting, and strategic skills. So these are very, very good kind of courses if someone is wanting to pursue, be it from a chartered accountant perspective or from a cost and management accounting perspective also. So you can look at it, these courses, which has a very, very wide kind of recognitions in the international platform. And the third one, I'm just listing it down, some of these courses from US. Right, and US has a CMA, which is something that you can do it after the 12th grade, which is probably one of the simplest sort of a course that I can say. It has only 2 major section that you might want to kind of look at it. It also speaks more about financial planning, performances and analysis, and also strategic financial management. I think these are the 2 broad path that the exams would be covering. And this is something that somebody can take up online. So all these courses that I'm speaking about in today's world, that you can just do it and get trained from wherever you are, and you can appear for the examinations in most part of the world. So you probably do not have to travel or relocate to get trained or to appear for examinations. I'm just speaking about the UK and the US related courses, where you have plenty of learning opportunities across the globe, and there are various examination centers that are available as well. So you can get yourself acquainted with that. But the CPA and CFA are courses which possibly you may not be able to take it up right after 12th grade, but that is something that you can look at it after your graduation. After 16 years of education, these are courses that is something that you can look at it. But these 2 courses again are from the US as well, from very, very premier institute as well. The CPA is actually the certified public accounting, which is from the American Institute. I would say probably one of the oldest institutes that exist in today's world, probably 100+ years old, and there are about 400,000 plus members part of this. And this examination has 4 paper, and it has a more predominantly the multiple choice question kind of an answers, which you can take it up online. And the normal duration someone would take after their graduation, when they are eligible to take up, would take about, I would say, probably 1 to 2 years. It depends on their effort and their IQ and intelligence level. And this course again is, I would say, is at par with ACCA or the Indian Chartered Accountancy. And the CPA, like ACCA, is very, very globally recognized. It's an international kind of recognition that is being gained over the years. And this course again focuses primarily on the taxation and the accounting knowledge levels of the students. Of course, it is more from a US perspective, that US taxation and the US GAAP in the accounting, and of course IFRS also would be kind of covered upon. But with the kind of industries that is being spread across globally, then these kind of certifications are also being recognized worldwide as well. Unlike the other courses, CFA, I would say, is again a course which is Chartered Financial Analyst. It's also from the US, but it is very, very industry focused and driven. Okay, this particular course would be more ideally suited for students who have an aspirations to build up their career in the banking and financial services space. If someone has got a very clear aspirations to grow in that kind of a space, then they can definitely look at it. And this course also has 3 levels, and basically, each level 1, level 2 has something, a concept called about 10 topics, where you might have to kind of graduate to become such courses. And this course more focuses around the financial management, say at a global level, and your investment portfolio managements, and financial reporting, and any sort of an analysis from those industry is something that this course would be focusing on. But these are relatively, I would say, all very premier courses and very well recognized across the globe. And I've kept this actuarial science as a course separately, though it is from the Indian Institute of Institute of Actuarial Sciences in India, though it is a certification that comes from India. The reason I had kept it is sort of a very unique course, actually. This is also very industry driven or very industry focused, like a CFA. This is very much required, it's considered from an insurance industry perspective globally. Or I would say, what is this actuarial science is all about is actually, it specializes certain areas in a way that where, these professionals will look at the risks in a mathematical and more statistical way while evaluating any risks, and also analyzing the financial consequences of such risk. This is the one-liner summary, I would say, about the actuarial science, but very interesting course, but equally challenging also for someone to complete it. But it has the greatest amount of visibility and also the highest recognition that I would say that someone would be getting it after getting certified as well. This is also very similar format of CA, CMA, ACS, like it has 4 levels where you can have core technical, core application, and specialist technical and specialist application. And it's about 4 paper in each level that you would be ending up doing it. So totally about 16 paper that you would do to complete these courses. But of course, it also has eligibility as quick as from 10 plus to the 12th grade. There is an eligibility that you can start after clearing the entrance, the foundation examinations as well. So these are very unique sort of course that someone can look at it. So until this point of time, I had listed down major finance and related certifications and professional courses. But I would also want to dwell upon not only the finance and finance related, the other professional courses that the students must also consider, because an interest and a passion at this point of time can be anything. I do not want to dilute somebody's thinking process only towards the finance related professional courses. You should be open enough in choosing your academic career path at this point of time, and pick up something which you are completely convinced and you're totally passionate about. So in that context, I'm just bringing in law programs, and particularly the integrated law programs. These days, an advantage is you can straight away get into an integrated law programs where you save at least a year. Unlike in the past where you'll have to complete a graduation and then do a law. But right now, you can get into such kind of courses where you can get into integrated law programs where first 3 years will be some sort of a bachelor degree, and then later part of 2 years could be the specialization on the law. Again, these law courses also, you have international as well as the courses that are offered from the India as well. So the process is you can be eligible after your 12th grade, and you're expected to appear for certain entrance examination where LSAT is actually the law school admission test, which are applicable for the international universities. And similarly, you would be expected to take up CLAT, which is a common law admission test for from an Indian university's perspective as well. So of course, there are plenty of opportunities, options available in the international market, but there are equally good reputed institutions in India as well, which offers these integrated law programs. As you all might know that the eligibility for these programs are all very minimal. Like if you are greater than 45% score in the 12th grade, you are eligible, and you can kind of appear for these kind of integrated programs. And the next more popular is something that people can look at is the Masters in Business Administration. As I said, these Masters in Business Administration, you can look at it from, after 3 years of graduation, and then followed by, certain entrance test. Particularly the premier institutes in, would do require, tests like CAT, which is Common Admission Test, and there are certain other universities in India, particularly, Xavier Institute or Narsi Moji kind of institutes, which are very popular, have their own, entrance test. And of course, ISB, in India also has their own kind of entrance test as well, where, you would be expected to be good at, three broad aspects. You are being tested on three broad aspects: is verbal, analytical, and, your reasoning ability. These are the three factors that would be tested during your entrance examinations. But if at all, if you're planning your career to become a master's in business administration, you definitely have to look at and aim at high and getting into a very, very premier institute. Otherwise, it wouldn't make any big impact in your professional career. So you should aim at high, and you should look at clearing any of those premier institutes entrance examination and secure such a branded professional degrees in order to follow any of these business administration courses. Having taken up, there are a lot more variations which are available. Once you get into the master's program, you can choose any specialization: finance, human resources, marketing. These are very, very conventional and traditional specializations, but with the time evolved, there are plenty of other specializations that are also available, which is something that you can pick up and choose based on your interest and passion that you wanted to pursue. And of course, this is a very recent time evolution that in last 10 years, since 2011, IIM Indore has started with this program called Integrated Program in Management, IPM. And the requirement for this program is actually there is an entrance which you would end up having to do after your 12th grade itself, which is called as an IPMAT, which comprises of multiple choice questions, where you are tested on your quantitative ability and verbal ability, completely MCQ types. And the way the program is structured is like first 3 years will be of any bachelor, any undergraduation degree, which again has three major streams. You could either take up math, statistics, or economics, or you could do psychology, sociology, political science, or you can do humanities and literature or fine arts. Any of these three streams, you can take up your bachelor degree, and followed by the last 2 years is the typical and regular MBA program, where you can choose your own specializations and get accredited from IIM. And I recently gathered that there are a couple of more universities joining this integrated program in management. Thereby, this IPMAT is not only going to be for the Indore IIM anymore, but there will be more premier institutes would get covered under the same IPMAT exams as well. The last year, this 22 admission, it's one of the very, very competitive exam, and these days with growing interest from more people, that there are about 10,000 plus students who have appeared for these examinations for 120 seats. So you can imagine the kind of competitiveness that it brings up. Hence, you need to be more competitive and clear in your mindset as well. If you decide to choose any of these courses, you should be clear and strong enough in competing hard enough while getting into these kind of courses. And other courses, as I said, I'm just going a little away from only the commerce aspect. There are other interesting specializations that somebody can look at it. If you are interested in economics as a subject and topic, you can definitely look at picking up graduation in economics, and in the international universities, or even in India as well. Very, very premier institutes are available in India, and then you can pursue your masters as per your choice. And there are wonderful opportunities for people who have completed economics in a not only Indian environment but in the international environment as well. And of course, there is other interesting dimension that I would want to bring. There are people, youngsters that we have seen of recent years, that they are more keen to take up certain government higher level positions, where they are able to contribute to the society and also becoming a responsible citizen, and they wanted to take up more powerful hierarchical positions in the country as well. So these are courses that are available to every student at the age of 21 after your graduation. You can take up an exam called UPSC, Union Public Service Commission, which obviously brings up the best talents, where they can kind of categorize based on their rankings as IAS, IPS, and IFS and IRS kind of positions, which are very, very reputable positions that someone can kind of look at it if you are interested to serve the government and the society. And of course, there are many other variations, but I put journalism communication is primarily that these are some of these industry which have picked up and gained quite a lot of momentum and interest amongst a lot of youngsters. So, these are something that you can look at it. So all these courses that I've listed down are all of 4 to 5 year time frame, which gives you an edge over others and also gives you a lot more recognition in terms of your professional career that you can build up. And as I said, there are plenty more. But at least I would expect you all have to think and consider some of these or all of these before you make a final decision. Okay, so with that, I just would want to move on. From the course, what happens next? If I finish any of these finance-related professional courses, where am I going to apply my theoretical knowledge that I've gained over whatever number of period? So these are some of the industries that you can look at it. Technically, the finance professionals will be across in any industry. Every industry, every corporate must have a finance personnel, operating at a very, very key level, who takes the decisions. Eventually, the CEOs and CFOs are the ones, who calls the shot, who decides the fate of any organization. So you will be taking up, in such a, crucial and critical positions of any of the corporate, which is forming part of any of these industry. As you can see, BFSI, which is banking, financial services, and and insurance, manufacturing, retail, technology, media, and life sciences, healthcare, pharma. I mean, these are some of these industries which are very, very popular. And the business process outsourcing that I had listed down is because that's one of the emerging industry, at least in India and countries like China, where it has grown substantially and brought a lot of foreign exchange for the country and created quite a lot of opportunities across places in India. And this is something that which offers quite a lot of very lucrative and interesting opportunities for people to place themselves, not just merely in India, but this can kind of place you anywhere in the globe as well, depending on your potential ability and interest and the specialization that you bring in as well. And after having chosen probably any of these industry based on your interest, then what kind of role someone would play, once you take up a particular position in a company. The functions that generally a finance person, would look at is the area of finance, or audit and assurance, taxation, consulting. The reason why I put consulting is these days, the finance professionals with their tremendous knowledge across various functions within an organization and also their experience at an early age across various industries is helping them or probably put you in a position where you're able to offer quite a lot of solutions to the businesses and various business challenging situations. So there's quite a lot of demand for people from this finance background to offer and probably offer a lot of advisory services to many corporates, or a lot of turnaround projects of any corporate are being done by finance professionals with their tremendous knowledge. And of course, technology has become an integral part of every organization, and finance being a key function which is operating on technology these days, literally. So a person with a good amount of domain and subject expert can actually leverage a lot out of technology, and thereby the companies do gain a lot through their automation and probably a lot of efficiency projects that they can drive and implement for the organization. Conventional roles, of course, these are something which traditionally have been there, like as an accountant or finance manager, controller or chief accounting officer, CFO. Technically these days there is quite a lot of preference that is shifted from CFO and to CEO. Most of the CEOs these days are from a finance background, unlike in the past where it is from a engineering or a sales and marketing background. So there is a lot of shift in the perspective from the board that they can look at CFOs technically become a CEOs in a future. And of course, the evolving roles of business, the finance people, or business finance is something that these days becoming more popular, that every business would want to have a finance because they wanted to have the finance perspective while they are doing their strategy around the marketing or the selling aspect of it. And of course, risk and advisory are all some of the key functions that are being again looked up to by the finance professionals. And as I said, the various analysis positions and functional experts are all being offered by the finance professionals. So these are some wonderful and tremendous opportunity a finance person can look at it, not just merely picking up a course. I've given a visibility of what kind of industry and what kind of roles that someone can look at it. As I said, these are not exhaustive lists. These are just lists that I can think of, and I just wanted to bring it up, which are very prominent. Okay, I will take up some questions around this, maybe at later part. Let me kind of introduce you what is Grey Matter, academics. So we are a institute and academy based out of, Chennai in India, which is the southern part. And of course, Chennai as a place which has kind of seen a tremendous growth, has a lot of heritage, history behind it. And of course, with a lot of infrastructure facilities growing up. And the most, important thing that Chennai is known for or popular for is it has the second largest beach in the Asia. So, with that note, I just want to play a short clipping that where instead of me speaking, you would possibly be able to hear it from other, key members of Grey Matter Academy as well. So that I'll just allow me to play a video.
Grey Matter Academics was started in 2011 by about 4 chartered accountants who had the intention to provide a realistic coaching for students who are interested in pursuing a career in chartered accountancy. We ensure that they are not only guided, they are counseled, they are coached, they are prepared, all sort of activities are being carried out to see to it that the student not only attends the classes, but also prepares for the exam properly.
We offer various finance professional courses, and through various integrated programs where we have a 5-year and 3-year programs, besides offering certain optional professional examinations from various institutes such as CAA, CPA, and CISA.
It is not only about the academic accomplishment the student will have. The student will have the confidence to take up the job which they are very confident in handling. So what it makes also is they become reasonably industry ready on the employability side.
We have always stuck to a principle that the student to the tutor ratio should be in the range of 1:50.
Since GMA is highly selective with their entry of students, the batch size is also very limited, and this ensures personal care and attention provided to each student.
This is the academy where they take care of every student. There's an individual attention is paid for the student as well as for the entire curricular activity which is being done here. They're taking the responsibility of the student.
We offer them the best food possible that is made available to them so that they are able to continue this 3-year and 5-year program uninterrupted due to any mental and physical illness.
When it comes to accommodation, the accommodations are typically 2-bedroom flat or a 3-bedroom flat. And these accommodations are very close to our academy. And these accommodations that we provide are fully furnished. We provide them cot, mattresses, refrigerators, micro oven, and also fully automated washing machines. Other support needs like, doctor assistance or airport pickup and drop for the students when they're coming here for the first time are also provided here from us.
Grey Matter Academics provides a safe environment or a platform for every student to test and try themselves with all their professional learning that they have at this moment. And they are out from a cocoon before they are entering into the real world. At GMA, where every student matters, every moment counts.
Okay, thank you for patiently watching. I'll just move on, and highlight. Though most of the aspects are covered, in the short clipping that was shared. but I'll just cover, for whom Grey Matter Academics is most important. Is for actually the students who finished their 12th board exams and who wanted to pursue Indian Chartered Accountancy or ACCA along with, BCom as a graduation. So we have programs, that would ensure that the students could accomplish and achieve, these professional certifications, either of or all along with the graduation. And of course, parents who wants their kids to study in India, but they cannot relocate for whatever reasons, but where we are able to take care of their residential arrangements, with personal care and attention. And that is, are the reasons that where, someone should look at Grey Matter Academics. And the integrated programs, that we primarily offer to the students is a 5-year program, which is called as Fintegrated, which comprises of 3 major certifications. One, of course, the Bachelor of Commerce from Madras University and the Indian Chartered Accountancy. And in the 5th year, we offer an option to the students to choose either ACCA or CIA or CISA. The CA and CISA are, these courses that are offered by the US Institute, Premier Institute as well. So, depending on, their aspirations, that the student are allowed to choose any of these variant, in the 5th year. So this is the, integrated program that at Grey Matter Academics we offer. And there is a 3-year course as well, where it's called as FINACA, which is an integrated program where we combine ACCA. When I said ACCA, it's all the 13 paper that we ensure that the student is able to clear along with BCom in about 3 years time. And besides that, in both either a 5-year integrated program or a 3-year FINACA program, we also assist students in terms of arranging for the internships, that we have a lot of empaneled professional firms and corporates, who would want to take up, these professionals, be it in the form of internship or even, for their employment, post their qualifications as well. And along with these courses, we also conduct and bring in a lot of leaders from the industry where the students can gain knowledge from the, people who are practical, who have a practical exposure, and also with the domain that they have, the specialization that they've gained over a period. And also we ensure that there are, certain skill sets which are very important when you are, becoming a professional, which are very key for, to enhance their employability and opportunities, when they go out after their qualifications and wanting to pursue their professional career. So this is something that, we bring in. And some of the key aspects that we bring in, of course, we have a very limited batch size as mentioned. And also our focus is on completely providing classroom sessions. So there is a tutor-led session always, and there are practice sessions, in the same day, where the student do not carry over, any topic or concepts to the next day. And all the tutors offer closely monitored sessions and a mentorship that will also be offered, by the tutors themselves, or the student counselors, who kind of work along with them. And all their practice sessions are being reviewed and feedbacks are given, so that the students are able to correct themselves and meet the expectation of all these institutes, and becoming a professional as well. And we conduct various practice tests and assessments, and also create more simulated test environments for the students to practice themselves and try it out before they actually get into the real examinations. And the key strengths which was all mentioned in the clipping that you shared. But one thing I wanted to highlight here is we are not an academy where we just end up mere delivering the conceptual or imparting the knowledge or the training, or giving various practice sessions. We also take ownership and also pride in saying that we ensure that every students that who passes through Grey Matter Academics, we would be supporting them until they complete these professional courses. So that is something that we take a pride on saying that we just own every student until they become a professional. And of course, this is on the eligibility side, something that a student can look at it. These are all on the hostel side, which you have seen. I just want to mention something on this slide, where most of our students, who have completed, these courses have gone into, the big fours, which Mr. Mukund also had mentioned, that these are the companies where our students have actually got placed. And even the other corporates that you can look at it are from varied industries, from banking, financial services, manufacturing sector, service sector, IT sector. There are these are various different opportunities where our own students have got placed. And I'm just showing some of the clippings that we have had of the recent batch, where we also recognize, the meritorious students, and we also are offering scholarships to the appropriate, candidates. So just sharing it. And there are fun time, that's also being equally shared for the students to come out of their stress, not being so monotonous while preparing for their professional courses. Because the contact details, and if there is any questions, or anything that you would want to know more about ourselves, you can definitely contact through these credentials, or you can route your queries through the Indian School Voucher, who would kind of arrange to connect with us as well, for any further details or more information. So with that note, I would want to conclude and thank once again the Indian School Voucher for giving us this wonderful platform and opportunity to share some of our perspective on what students could consider at this point of time, which may be very valuable, before they take a final decision. So I'm just opening it up for any questions at this point of time. So over to you, the moderators. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the informative session, and we are sure that the process of exploring and inquiring has begun in the minds of the students and parents. Over to the moderator.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
It was indeed a wonderful session. The session was informative, enjoyable, and engaging. Sir, let us move on to the question and answer session, sir. So we have received a lot of questions from the different social media platforms, and we have streamlined a few of them. So first of all, you told us about CA, CMS, and ACS as the the most important career options for a commerce student. And for a student, how can he identify if CA, CMS, or ACS would be fitting for him? How will we actually come to that decision? Because they are all similar and we get the same impression only.
Correct. Actually, the best way that I would suggest is if they have a connect, or they have an access to any of these professionals, they must, talk to any of their existing certified members to understand first how, each of these courses and what it specializes. They have to have their discussion at length to get to the level where they get a perspective of and the dimensions of each of these courses. Just an example that what Mr. Mukund shared today is a clear one-dimensional aspect of after completing a chartered accountancy course, be it a CA or ACCA or even CPA, to establish themselves in the auditing field, which is just a very specific focused approach. So that kind of a discussion that someone should have, with various professionals. One. Number two, I think, these days information is available on your palm. You have to do quite a lot of reading to know more about these courses, and also to look at various, opportunities around. So eventually, of course, the fundamental aspect of learning, and going through these courses is to enrich your knowledge. But what will you do with the knowledge when it is not applied anywhere? It just become, redundant. So they need to know where they can apply, these knowledge. So it means they have to explore. After I complete, a CA or a CMA or a ACS, where am I going to apply all these? So they need to know those aspects and avenues. So when they start, getting deeper and deeper, they not only just look at this 4 or 5 years of an academics, but they also look at a much larger phase of their life of beyond the academics and where am I going to apply. So it is sort of a reverse process. So you need to know where exactly you're going to end up and spend your major part of life post qualification or certification. Then you work backwards and then pick up such course, which is more interesting to you and which you are more passionate about it. You must, in this, you have to apply your brain while doing all this research. But when you take decision, be, more careful, listen to your heart. Okay, and then choose a decision. I mean, that's something that I would recommend. Though I have not, got this kind of a visibility when I chose CA or, CMA, but I thought, this must be, an idea that I can give. I'm not saying it's the best way, but, this at least will rule out a lot of possibilities in your mind.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, the next question is also about the same courses only. So, sir, actually you said that CA, CMS, and ACS, they all come directly under the Parliament, Indian Parliament. So, sir, actually, do we have any government agencies that offer some scholarships or some orientation or some other helps for those students who actually want to pursue a career in these courses?
No, there are no such. But I'll tell you, these are kind of courses that gives you enormous amount of financial benefits, but the cost to complete these courses are very, very minimal compared to any other professional courses across the globe. I can bet on it. Okay, these are very, very minimal, and I can tell you, even a graduate student, an undergraduate student in a college, in a regular college, will be spending more money than than joining any of these professional courses. If I were to tell you that in Indian parlance, a chartered accountancy course for the entire duration, you would have to spend about ₹1,00,000, 100,000 Indian rupee, which is insignificant. And besides that, you get paid for the 3 year of internship, which is per annum 60,000. So in a way, you take back the entire cost of your education in 3 years of internship. So very, very insignificant. So hence, there are no scholarships and monies are being paid, but there are a lot of private institutions that do encourage such students. So you would be able to kind of take up such. A lot of audit firms these days, they offer and they sponsor these kids' studies when they choose the right audit firm. So there are plenty of such opportunities. If some kids who are economically kind of backward, they are being taken care by various social institutions these days. So
Okay, sir, thank you. So the final question, it is about actuarial science. So you from the description only, I'm asking, like, is it exclusively for that insurance industry alone, or
No.
are they going to be placed in some other industries also?
Yeah, not necessarily, as I said, but it is heavily required, by that industry, because that is one, insurance is all about risk, covering risk. So it's predominantly, looked at there. But there are, wherever the risk is there, where if a risk has to be evaluated financially, it can be any risk. And these are the people that, everyone go after. And these are the people, their opinion that values a lot. So, so that is the beauty of that course. But in my opinion, I would say that's the most interesting course, though I have not done it, but I can certainly vouch for it.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for the insightful answers. Over to the MC, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the insightful answers. Those who have queries can access the mobile app and the questions will be directly addressed. As we draw to the end of this interesting session, I deem it my great privilege to propose the vote of thanks. We extend our heartfelt thanks to our eminent speaker, Mr. Mukund Manohar, for all his words of motivation. Thank you, sir. We express our gratitude for the spokesperson, Mr. Ashok Rajaram from Grey Matters University, for sharing the details and giving us an overview of the career guidance. Thank you, sir. Our deepest sense of appreciation and gratitude to Chairman Dr. Shivakumar Manikam and the members on the Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Oman. A heartfelt thanks to the President, Mr. Ajayan Boyara, members of the Indian School Baushas School Management Committee, and the Principal of the school, Dr. Bhavesh Bhalrao. We request the participants to kindly fill in the feedback form posted in the chat window. Heartfelt thanks to our platinum sponsor, Jane deemed to be University, gold sponsor, De Montfort, silver sponsors, Dallas Baptist University, USA, Grey Matters, SP Jain School of Global Management, Sri Ramchandra Institute of Higher Education and Research, and bronze sponsors, Middle East College and SP Jain School of Global Management, digital marketing partners, Spectrum and Trifoil, media partner, The Arabian Stories, and other valued sponsors. Now let us watch a video of our valued sponsors. Finding your passion is the key to your success. With these uplifting words, I, Supriya,
Please, please unmute yourself.
with these uplifting words, I, Supriya, wish you all a glorious day ahead. Before we sign off, let me remind you of the upcoming sessions. The upcoming sessions are scheduled for tomorrow, 17th October 2022. Online sessions will begin from 8:30 a.m. onwards. A gentle reminder for filling the feedback form. You can provide your feedback on the Avenue website www.avenueoman.com. Every attendee who submits the feedback form will receive a digital certificate. See you in the next session. Stay tuned and stay safe.